Kidnapped Australian Warren Rodwell has pleaded for his life in a ransom video sent to his wife. The 53-year-old was abducted on the southern Philippines island of Mindanao last month. In the video, Rodwell begs his family, the Filipino government and the Australian ambassador to do what it takes to secure his release.
My last wish is that you please help me out of here alive.
Rodwell's captors are demanding a $2 million ransom. And joining us now is Nigel Brennan, an Australian photojournalist captured and held by Somalian kidnappers for over 400 days in 2008. Nigel, thanks for joining us. What do you think of the government's decision to refuse the kidnappers' ransom requests?
Look, I completely agree with what the Australian government have always said, even in my case, that they don't pay ransom because it puts every single Australian citizen at risk. I guess what I hope happens in this case that didn't happen in my case is that the government is forthcoming with information and gives Warren's family all the options on the table right from the start of what's available to them, including private kidnap and ransom companies that have 18 years' experience in this sort of realm.
And the government says the less media attention on this case, the better. Do you agree with that?
Look, there's certainly reasons to not discuss too much about a case. It can raise expectations, I guess, for the kidnappers. It also gives the ability for the government to not be questioned on exactly what they're doing too, though, which is, I don't know, it's sort of a double-edged sword, really.
And you say the government needs to do more to help kidnap victims. And I know you mentioned there about the information. You have said that you agree they shouldn't pay the ransoms. But are there other ways they can help in these cases?
Look, I guess the Australian government use consultants in a lot of areas, so I don't understand why they can't bring in a private kidnap and ransom consultant to work with the government when an Australian citizen like Warren finds himself now, to work together. And unfortunately, the government don't have the experience that these companies do. And the government certainly should be involved with the family, with Warren's family, and offering support and psychological, I guess, support is extremely important because it's just as traumatic on a family as it is on the victim.
Well, indeed, and Warren Rodwell has been held captive for 1 month now. In your experience, what will he be going through psychologically?
Look, you know, I'm sort of having a guess, but I guess just from my own experience, then, you know, you live in constant fear and under a lot of stress, and probably in those the first period of a kidnapping, you have quite fatalistic thoughts as well, that, you know, you feel that your life's constantly in danger and that at any given day you could end up being killed. So it's an extremely stressful situation to be in.
And your case, of course, prompted a Senate inquiry. Has the government learnt any lessons from this?
You'd have to ask the government that question, I guess. And look, for me, that was part of the reason for becoming involved with the Senate inquiry, so that when an Australian citizen did find themselves in the situation that I did, the process was certainly a lot quicker, and there was a lot more information available to the family, and it's easier on the family than it was on my family to go, 15 months through the ordeal. And
finally, how are you and your family?
Look, still two years on, I'm in a pretty good position mentally, but it's one of those things you go through trauma. It does take a long time to get over, but look, I'm incredibly lucky that I have such a close-knit family, and we certainly look after each other, even after, like I said, 2 years. So, but no, I'm in pretty good nick.
That's good to hear. Nigel Brennan, thank you for joining us.
Absolute pleasure.